Hello, everyone. My name is Sherice Torres. I'm the Global Director of Inclusion at Google, and I'm excited to partner with my colleague Ruby Chang from the GCP K-12 education team, speak with you about the role of employee resource groups in building a culture of inclusion and belonging. Ruby will kick off our time together with a deep dive into the Women at Google Cloud group, and I'll give an overview of Google's overall approach to employee resource groups. Over to you, Ruby.
Thank you, Sherice. Hi, everyone. I'm Ruby Chang. I serve as one of the global leads for Women at Google Cloud, and I also serve as a Google Cloud platform for K-12 education lead across North America. Our chapter of WomenNet is a global network of about 850 women and allies that are passionate about building a diverse and inclusive culture where all of us can thrive and bring our whole selves to work. More broadly, WomenNet is the largest ERG at Google, with over 120 chapters at 52 offices globally. Our start was very grassroots, back when we were a small team of what was then Google Enterprise. 3 women just wanted to connect with others across their team. And even without a designated leader, they had a desire to get to know one another. So they just got started with video meetings, which eventually became face to face lunches as the team grew. And that eventually evolved to the large scale programming that we're at today. It has been incredibly powerful to see this community grow into a global network. And looking back at our humble roots and successful years since then, we've also seen that there are times when we needed a lot of help, when we needed to seek out executive sponsorship, and times when we couldn't find any. What has really helped us through all of this is staying centered on a mission. We're a global network focused on empowering, connecting, developing, and retaining talent within Google Cloud. This is not just important for the cloud team, but it's also aligned to Google's ERG and WomenNet goals. We have a committed leadership team that meets weekly, and we get together twice a year for an offsite. That keeps us true and focused to our mission. We use that time to evaluate the past few months, look at the feedback, and plan events and avenues to bring the full community together again. You'd be correct to imagine that our professional relationships have very quickly become very personal ones, as we dedicate time to get to know one another better and tap into each other's strengths. We have no budget, so we rely entirely on our commitment, our creativity, tenacity, and passion to get things done. We have 3 pillars that guide Women at Google Cloud and connect back to the heart of everything that we do. And as I share these pillars and some examples with you, I also want to share some things that we've learned along the way. Our first pillar is to raise awareness. This speaks to raising awareness around gender diversity, as well as promoting talent to join and develop with Google Cloud teams. For example, we maintain a cadence with the cloud staffing teams and check in quarterly, and we have a dialogue on how our community can support their goals. We want to be intentional about creating connections and host external recruiting events as one avenue to do so. That encourages industry talent to consider joining our team. I mentioned earlier the idea of an executive sponsor. At one point, we just didn't have women leaders to take this on with us. But executive leadership is crucial to ERG success, and we're so lucky to have Nina Harding, Google Cloud's Chief of Global Partner Programs and Strategy, to take this on. And her sponsorship and advocacy are key to elevating the impact of our women and allies at the leadership level. Our second pillar is building the community. It challenges us to really consider, how do we create a culture that helps retain women talent and is inclusive of allies, especially now in a digital environment? This is not something that we can do just once a year, checking off a box with one event or big idea. We approach this as a series of experiences, and it requires a lot of communication and activation across our entire global team. Let me take you through one decision. A way to represent our unique culture is with a brand or logo that represents what we stand for. So we embarked on launching a fun logo contest. We collected submissions, held a vote, and our finalist was a great graphic of a woman avatar with a superhero cape trailing behind her. We loved it, but we also started hearing from our community that perhaps this was not the most representative icon to represent all women in cloud. The avatar was slim, had a lighter skin tone, and was able-bodied. And we took that feedback very seriously. So we opted instead for a more inclusive, colorful, text-based logo that we have today. And it was only second by a few votes anyhow. Outside of creative choices, there are a lot of logistical decisions for a community of hundreds of members. So to scale, we have to be intentional about aligning on our communication channels. We primarily use Google Groups, which functions both as our message board as well as our email distribution. And this group is intentionally created to be a public and not private group, so that all Googlers can read and engage. It allows us to maintain an open culture and approach to events and discussion. We also have an internal webpage that serves as a home base for upcoming activities, past archived events, and more. There is a unique challenge when your team grows globally, and in order for that to be effective, really need to think global and empower folks to activate and organize locally. We have an incredible network of ambassadors who help lead the Women Up presence in their local home offices as part of this effort. We're also very proud of our recently formed regional chapters in EMEA and APAC, and functional chapters that are organizational or team-based, like Women of Core Infrastructure. We tap into each other's platforms and connect as a stronger global network of women and allies. We also want to recognize that community is inside and outside. There needs to be a balance between the work that we do here at Google and how we share and invite other leaders to join us in that mission. Last year, we partnered with the Kellogg School of Management to launch a global speaker series, where we brought their professors who are experts in the field to deliver sprints of professional development topics. We had about 200 members attend each talk, and it sparked internal dialogue with one another, in addition to offering external networking opportunities. Our third and last pillar is empower and develop. This is centered on providing opportunities for professional development and training, as well as supporting the promotion of women to leadership positions. It is so important to create a culture of celebration and recognition for the growth and accomplishments of what we do. Our members every day go well beyond just our teams or our customers. We have an opportunity to share our knowledge, learn from one another, and create stronger impact when we act together. So every quarter, we highlight the awesome work happening around the world in a newsletter and encourage recognition across teams and to our senior leadership. This is another place where executive sponsorship really comes in. We want to lift, amplify, and build trust across Google Cloud. If there's one lesson we've picked up since 2014, it's that we're always learning, we're always growing, and it never hurts to have some fun along the way. Looking ahead, while we're all navigating the remote working situation, we especially want to lean into listening to our community. In March, we took steps to reevaluate all of our 2020 programming, thinking, should we scrap and replan our events? And a thought occurred, why don't we just ask our folks? What's important to Googlers now? How do we support our women and allies during work from home? After that poll, we heard that a priority really fell into threefold. One, to have a better understanding of the company resources available to them during COVID-19. So we hosted an open Q&A dialogue with our partners on the people operations team to promote discussion and information sharing for the unique situations that a lot of our members are actively managing today. Second, Googlers want to spend more time with cloud leaders. So we launched Candid Cloud, an open discussion with 2 regional cloud leaders every month. And third, Googlers don't want to slow down when it comes to internal and external networking opportunities. So we always ask ourselves, how can we integrate this in everything that we do? One thing we did learn that folks really don't want right now is another group chat. It seems that a lot of us are experiencing chat fatigue. So while we're pivoting toward a digital workplace, at least for now, we found unexpected opportunities. While the past few months have not been easy for most of us, in some ways it's become easier to think beyond the walls of our office and come together as one global team. Now that you know more about Women at Google Cloud, Sherice, I want to welcome you to share more on Google's broader ERG strategy.
Thanks, Ruby. I'll start with a brief overview of the ERG structure at Google and the role of ERGs in fostering a sense of community within underrepresented groups. I'll close with a few case studies of how organizations can partner with ERGs to foster a sense of belonging, both within underrepresented communities and across the company. And just a caveat, while we are excited to share some of our learnings with you today, we are by no means experts in this space. Let's start with an overview of ERGs at Google. We have 16 employee resource groups with over 35,000 members in 50 offices around the world. In addition to the employees who volunteer their time to serve as leaders for our employee resource groups, each of our ERGs is supported by a team of global and regional community advisors, dedicated to supporting the ERGs by driving opportunities for connection, personal, and professional development. Community advisors drive this work in three ways. First, they empower ERG leaders by providing strategic advisory support and centralized cross ERG functions such as budgeting, governance, and quarterly lead summits to share best practices. Community advisors help ERG leaders to recognize and apply the leadership skills that they're gaining in their community role and apply them to their core jobs. They also form a bridge between our ERGs, which typically serve early to mid level career Googlers, and executive councils comprised of senior leaders from each community, serving as advocates and sponsors for ERG initiatives, as well as mentors for more junior members of each community. Second, community advisors supplement the programs created by local ERG chapters with programs designed to benefit ERG members around the globe. For example, community advisors host annual Women of Color summits, an ERG buddy program to assist in onboarding new employees, allyship workshops, and pilot sponsorship programs to support career progression for underrepresented communities. Finally, community advisors help to strengthen Google's business by partnering with ERG and executive council leaders to infuse the perspectives and needs of underrepresented communities into new and existing Google platforms, products, and policies. Next, I'll move into a few examples of how ERGs help to foster community within underrepresented groups. I'll use Hola as an example. Hola is our global ERG focused on the Hispanic and Latinx community, with a mission to progress the inclusion, advancement, and representation of Hispanic, Latinx, and their allies across Google. Hola fosters community through a combination of informal gatherings, such as First Tuesdays, where community members gather for lunch at designated cafes in each office on the first Tuesday of each month. They also have book clubs and spoken word open mic nights. We combine these informal programs with formal programming, such as the annual Hola Leadership Summit, providing a unique space for Hola members to build community, develop, and better position each other to lead both within and outside the context of the Hispanic and Latinx community. The annual Latinas at Google Summit, a two-day event created for Latinas by Latinas with the intention of building community, providing networking opportunities, and developing career growth, as well as annual Hispanic Heritage Month celebrations. Hola also holds annual service trips, such as their 2019 volunteer mission to Puerto Rico to assist the community in recovery efforts after Hurricane Maria. I'd like to close with two case studies of how community advisors partner with ERG leaders and executive councils to foster a sense of belonging, specifically by supporting underrepresented communities in times of crisis. My first example relates to the Asian community. As many of you may know, the Asian community, particularly in the United States, experienced heightened xenophobia in the context of COVID-19. Our community advisors work hand in hand with the leads from the Asian Google Network, our ERG dedicated to supporting the diverse, multicultural Asian community, and the Asian Leadership Group, our executive council of senior Asian Google leaders, to provide a combination of resources to support the Asian community in the midst of this crisis. First, advisors partnered with the Asian Leadership Group and other Google senior leaders outside of the Asian community to send messages of acknowledgement, support, and solidarity to Asian Googlers. Next, we paired community support sessions and wellness resources for the Asian community with a digital AGN COVID-19 Community Support Hub, centralizing AGN programming, resources, and communications to support Asian Googlers through COVID-19 and related issues of racism and xenophobia. An AGN giving campaign was set up to raise funds for 6 US-based nonprofits supporting Asian community relief efforts, with Google matching up to $10,000 in donations per Googler. Finally, we affirmed, along with over 100 corporations and partner organizations, the COVID-19 Action Agenda penned by Ascend, the largest nonprofit Pan-Asian organization for business professionals in North America. This combination of internal support with external advocacy is helping to create a culture where Asian Googlers feel seen, connected, and supported in the midst of crisis. My second example relates to the Black community. Over the past several years, particularly in the summer of 2020, violent and racist attacks against the Black community are forcing the world to reckon with the structural and systemic racism Black people have experienced over generations. Specifically in the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd, community advisors partnered with global leads from the Black Googler Network, an ERG designed to cultivate Black leaders, empower communities, and transform technology, and the Black Leadership Advisory Group, our executive council of senior Black Google leaders, to step up for the Black community and reaffirm Google's commitments to inclusion and racial equity. Similar to our approach with the Asian community, we began by acknowledging the pain of the Black Googler community through messages of support from the Black Leadership Advisory Group, senior leaders outside of the Black community, as well as organic notes of solidarity from other ERGs and executive councils. We're following with a series of community support, allyship, and anti-racism education resources, centering first on supporting Black Googlers with community building, mental and physical well-being tools. Then, following with a series of company-wide and small group sessions to assist Googlers at every stage of their allyship journey, specifically in the context of racial equity. Our internal sessions focus on bias, privilege, and immediate steps Googlers can take to show up for their colleagues in times of crisis and at all times. We followed our internal programming with a dedicated Search for Racial Equity series on the public Talks at Google platform, featuring experts in the field of anti-racism, civil, and human rights. Most importantly, we went beyond words to concrete actions in support of both Black Googlers and Black communities around the world by publicly committing to build sustainable equity for Google's Black Plus community and to make our products and programs more helpful in the moments that matter most to Black users. You can learn more about these commitments at google.com/racial equity. I'd like to close our time today with a definition from the Center for Talent Innovation. According to the CTI, organizations can foster a sense of belonging, particularly among underrepresented communities, by creating a culture where all employees feel seen, connected, supported, and proud to be a part of their organization. As you can see from Ruby's deep dive into Women at Cloud, as well as my overview of employee resource groups at Google, ERGs are just one way that we work to create a culture of belonging at Google. Beyond fostering a sense of community within underrepresented groups, ERGs can be a powerful tool to drive advocacy, accountability, and change across your organization. For additional learning, you can take a look at the resources section of this session on our website. Thank you so much for your time today.